What's up, everybody? Before you scroll, I just want to let you know this isn't going to be our typical Bible study format. What I'm going to be doing today is giving a brief version of my personal testimony, why I gave my life to Christ, what that looked like for me, and why I think you should too. So to start, I was raised Catholic, right? I was baptized in the Catholic Church, and throughout my childhood, I used to attend every Saturday the Vigil Mass with my dad. And when I was 8 years old, my dad got sick. My dad ended up passing away when I was 13. And when I was 13, without my father, I lost my anchor to my faith. But as a 13-year-old, as a kid growing up in the church, you don't understand why you do the things you do. You just kind of do them, right? So I was instilled with a Christian ethic, right? To work hard, to forgive, to be charitable. I had these ideals about me, but I didn't know why. And it took years to now find this why. Through high school and much of middle school, I lived as typical high schoolers do. Right? I rooted myself in my reputation, in accolades, in perception, and that all led me to nothing. It led me to realize that in college, this life was nothing but just vanity and pursuing what was vain. So that led me to pursuing truth, pursuing something lasting, finding the answers to these existential questions of purpose and why am I here? So I began to read the Bible for the first time in my life. And scripture was confusing. I was lost. I didn't know what to read, what I was reading. But the gospel accounts convicted me. The life of Jesus convicted me. And it only came when I gave up everything else and I stripped my life of all of this vanity that I found that at rock bottom, Christ was the rock at the bottom. He was the foundation upon to build. So it was in a quiet solitude and desperation. It came with like tear-filled eyes and an open Bible for me to realize truth. Calling out for answers again and again and being confused and struggle and doubt and wrestling with that. I was graced with having a bunch of people in my life that were so formative in my faith that when I was in college, I was invited to this Bible study. This Bible study changed my life forever. In that Bible study, I found a group of men who took their faith seriously, who lived out their convictions, who spoke the truth unashamed. And it was that kind of conviction and camaraderie that grew my faith so much. They led me to encounter Jesus more fully. They led me back to the Mass, back to the confessional, to adoration for the first time in my life, where I could encounter Jesus in a more intimate way. And I'll tell you this, is that I could sit here and give you a whole historical evidence on why the gospel is true. A whole archaeological summary of the Bible's never been disproven archaeologically. I could try to reason and give you, logical reasoning for the existence of God. But none of that will do any good if you don't have a personal encounter with Christ. And I was very much in the same boat. There were times where I was unconvinced, and it took utter desperation in reaching out with an open and humble heart to realize Jesus was there the whole time. He was willing my life to be. He is the reason. He was the answer to those questions that I was asking for so long. And this is the moment I knew it. It was the first Mass that I had attended in years. I didn't know what I was doing, when to stand or kneel. I didn't know the responses. I felt out of place. I was sitting in a back row of a small chapel in South Carolina on our campus, probably trying to hide myself. And the priest got up to give his homily. And in the middle of that homily, he made this piercing eye contact with me. And he said, "You belong here." And in that moment, I just felt at home. I felt connected to truth and loved. beyond measure. Since that moment, it's been nothing but snowballing. Through a submission to Christ, you can live out your purpose more fully. You can be one with that divine given purpose that we are all endowed with. Whatever your purpose might be, I promise you'll find it in the pursuit of God. He will lead you to be the person that you are always made to be. Not the version of you that other people approve of, or the most likable, or the most accomplished maybe, but the most true and holy and righteous version of you that you know in your heart you were called to be. My story wasn't pretty all the time. It came with a lot of struggle and a lot of doubt and wrestling with that. But it was in that desperation, in that not knowing, that it all became clear. So I say this story because sometimes we make a Christian life look glamorous and virtuous and without struggle, that it's going to be some happy-go-lucky trip. It's not. But what I can tell you even more is that Christ desires your heart, even in your struggle. Wherever you are, he desires you. You don't clean yourself off before you get in the shower. You don't have to achieve a certain level of accolade to walk in those church doors. It is a hospital for the sick. It is clothes for the naked. It is help to those in need. Jesus offers that. You don't have to meet a certain threshold. He has known you since before you were made. He is with you, past, present, and future. So like I said before, I could give you mountains of historical evidence, mountains of logical reasoning, arguments for the existence of God. Or I can just tell you what I know to be true, is that Jesus is with you and desires you and wants your heart to be open to him. And when you do, you'll be introduced to a fulfillment that you had not even known existed or could exist. You'll be introduced to a true purpose, a renewed heart, and a growing understanding that will allow you to love more perfectly, forgive fully, give honestly, and live an authentic life rooted in him. When you encounter him in the sacraments, this is not to say that you will become perfected right now. That is definitely not to say that I am perfect in any way. I'm an imperfect work in progress at best. But what I can tell you is that though I'm a work in progress, though I stumble and I fall and I make mistakes constantly, I can make those mistakes not without hope. I won't be without hope when I stumble. Proverbs 24:16 says, though the righteous fall 7 times, still they rise again. You can fall and recommit yourself to the Lord. It won't be a perfect journey, right? But it comes from an open heart and a repentant heart that you'll be led to be the person that you were made to be. So for the person on the fence, for the person that's lukewarm, that doesn't know, for the person that calls themselves Christian but doesn't know why they do, dig deeper. It matters. There's nothing that matters more. Don't allow the busyness of the world to distract you. It's so easy to get caught up in that busyness that just drags us along. Pause that. Ask yourself, why are you here? What are you supposed to be doing with your life? And come into contact with the living God who loves you perfectly and fully where you are now and loves you enough to call you from that towards something more.